Hi, I'm Angel Nightingale. Welcome to Tales Around the World. This is one of my many stories I've written. The name of this story is The Arabian Princess. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on very interesting videos. Enjoy. Have a beautiful day to each and everyone.
Once upon a time, in the land of Arabia, live a king and queen and their beautiful daughter named Princess Amilah. Princess Amilah was their only child. Princess Amilah was always a happy child growing up and was never short of anything. Although Princess Amilah was well privileged, she was always very kind and generous to all people inside and outside the kingdom. When Princess Amilah reached the age to be married, that's when her happiness all ended. Princess Amilah mother and father arranged that Princess Amilah would be married to a prince from a faraway land. The prince's name was Elijah. Prince Elijah was known to be a ruthless prince, very controlling and demanding, and always gets what he wants. Prince Elijah was a merciless prince and very manipulative. Princess Amilah was promised to be married to Prince Elijah on her 18th birthday. The time was drawing close for Princess Amilah's birthday, and as time grew closer, she was getting very depressed and sad, because Princess Amilah was aware of the type of man Prince Elijah was. Princess Amilah did not love Prince Elijah. She despised the prince and his ruthless ways, his total disrespect for his people and people in general. Princess Amilah planned to run away from the palace before her 18th birthday. Princess Amilah's birthday countdown was exactly in 2 days, and she was getting really nervous. Princess Amilah planned to run away as soon as night comes. She already packed a few of her clothes in a knapsack and some fruits and cookies to eat. Night came, and Princess Amilah was asked to join her parents for dinner. They all sat around the dining table and ate silently, until her father, the king, said, "My daughter Amilah, your birthday is in 2 days, and so will be your wedding. I can't wait for the union to take place between two great kingdoms. Make me your father proud. Do not disappoint me and your mother. You will listen and obey your husband, Prince Elijah." Princess Amilah interrupted her father and said, "But father, I don't love Prince Elijah. He's not a good prince." Princess Amilah's father became very angry. Her mother, the queen, was afraid to look up. Amilah's father stood and started to shout at Princess Amilah, "How dare you interrupt me when I speak? You, Princess Amilah, will marry Prince Elijah. Do you hear me? Answer me." Amilah said, "Yes, father." The king continues to talk. "You will obey him and be a submissive wife to Prince Elijah. Do you hear me? Answer me, Amilah." "Yes, father." The queen kept her head down and quickly looked up at her daughter Amilah with tears in her eyes. Then she looks down again. Princess Amilah's mother doesn't agree with the arranged marriage between Princess Amilah and Prince Elijah, but she cannot say anything on the matter. In the whole of Arabia, there's no equal rights for women. After dinner, everyone said goodnight to each other. Princess Amilah gives her mother a huge hug and squeezes her tightly, for she knew after tonight she will never see her mother or father ever again. Princess Amilah went to her room and waiting patiently for everyone to sleep. Then she quickly but quietly grabbed her belongings and climbed down the back of her window. Then she ran quickly into the bushes. Princess Amilah's heart was racing with excitement and anticipation and nervousness. She was scared, but she knew it was her only choice for freedom. Princess Amilah started her long journey into the unknown forest. Amilah, walking day and night, hardly ever stopped to rest and eat. She occasionally eats of fruit or cookies, but she tried her best to keep up the distance between her and her palace. Princess Amilah was getting really tired, and eventually she saw an old deserted cottage and quickly entered. The cottage was really dirty and dusty. She started to sneeze. She cleaned up the cottage and quickly made it a little shelter until she could move again. Meanwhile, back at the palace, Amilah's parents are aware of her missing. The king calls his guards immediately. He ordered to search everywhere for Princess Amilah and do not return without her. The queen was silently crying of her daughter, but she was also hoping that she can leave the country and find a better life. The queen silently prayed that Princess Amilah is safe, wherever she may be. Princess Amilah awoke early in the morning and started on her long journey once more. After miles upon miles upon miles of walking, she finally came to a little village. She saw an old woman and a little girl in one of the huts. The little girl saw Princess Amilah and ran into the hut, and then the old woman came out and greeted the princess. The old woman and the little girl never recognized Princess Amilah. They invited her to stay for the night. Princess Amilah thanks them for their kindness. The little girl and her grandmother gave Amilah food to eat and water to drink. Amilah was grateful. The little girl asks Amilah where she came from. Princess didn't answer, but asked the little girl her name. The little girl said, "I'm Sarah. What's your name?" Princess replied and said, "My name is Star." Sarah said, "That's a beautiful name." Amilah said, "Thank you." They all said their goodnights, and Princess Amilah went fast to sleep. Woke early the next morning to start her journey. Before she can greet the old woman and little Sarah, she heard them talking about the missing princess. Amilah's heart started to race. She walked into the kitchen and told the old woman and little Sarah that she has to go. They told to stay for breakfast, but Princess Amilah said she needs to leave to catch the train. Before Princess Amilah left, she asks the old woman where she can get a new passport. The old woman told Princess Amilah, just a mile down the track, there's a man who can help her with a new passport. The old woman said, "It's an old White House. Just ask for Samuel." Princess Amilah thanks the old woman. Princess Amilah then asks for directions to get to the train station. The old woman gives Princess Amilah directions. She thanks them both and left immediately. Princess Amilah, after a mile of walking in the distance, she saw the old White House. She then asks for Samuel, and Samuel, "Yes, I'm Samuel. How can I help you?" Princess Amilah said she needs a passport. The Samuel asked what's her name. That's when Princess Amilah took the opportunity to change her name so no one can find her. Princess Amilah told Samuel her name is Angelina Valentine. Samuel looks at Princess Amilah for a moment. Then he said, "What a beautiful name." Princess Amilah said, "Thank you." Princess Amilah asked Samuel, "Where is the changing room?" He showed her, and Princess Amilah changed her clothes and uncovered her head, exposing her beautiful hair, which it was forbidden for a woman in Arabia to have their heads uncovered because you can be punished against the Arabia laws and regulations. For decades, Princess Amilah returned to Samuel to take her picture for the passport. Samuel smiled and took Princess Amilah's picture. He told Princess Amilah that it would take 20 minutes. Princess Amilah said, "Oh, Samuel, and thank you very much." After 20 minutes, Samuel returned and gave Princess Amilah her new passport with her new identity and new name. Princess Amilah thanked Samuel and paid him for the passport. Princess Amilah continues her journey to get to the train station. After miles upon miles of walking, Princess Amilah saw in the distance the train station. She was so happy and relieved, but then she saw 6 of the palace guards waiting at the train entrance. Princess Amilah's heart fell. She started to cry. She gathered her strength and looked for a place to hide. She stayed hidden in the entrance and made sure that the guards left. Then Princess Amilah made her move. She covered her head and part of her face and bought a train ticket. The closest train dropped to the airport. Princess Amilah hops on the train, and just before the train was ready to pull off, one of the palace guards came on the train and started to search for Princess Amilah. She started to panic. She covered her face even more, in hopes that the palace guard would not recognize her. Then the palace guard made his way very close to where Princess Amilah was sitting. Princess Amilah held her breath. praying that the palace guard would not recognize her. Princess Amilah reaches a place just about 3 miles from the airport and came off the train and started to walk. Then up in the distance, she saw 2 palace guards. She tried to hide in the nearby bushes, but one of the palace guards saw her and started to rush in her direction. Princess Amilah started to run in the opposite direction and saw an old tunnel. She ran inside the tunnel and was looking for a place to hide. She saw an old cylinder big enough to fit her body. She crawled into the cylinder and tried to be very quiet. The 2 palace guards reached the tunnel and started to look all over for Princess Amilah. Princess Amilah's heart racing with fear. The palace guard came very close to the cylinder she was hiding in, and Princess Amilah dared not breathe. Then the palace guard seemed to have given up the search, thinking she probably didn't come through the tunnel and left. Princess Amilah stayed in the cylinder for a few minutes, and when she felt it was safe to come out, she crawled back out of the cylinder and started to walk out of the tunnel, only to be caught by one of the palace guards. Princess Amilah screamed in terror and begged the palace guard to let her go. The palace guard said he has to follow the king's orders and said he is taking her back to the palace. Princess Amilah cries and pleads with the palace guard, but he ignored her. Then the other guard came, and they both tied Princess Amilah hand and carried her back on the train. Princess Amilah cried silently and trying to get loose from the rope that tied to her hands. The train started to move in the opposite direction of the airport, and Princess Amilah closed her eyes for a moment and started to scream and cry. The palace guards warned her to be quiet. After a mile on the train, Princess Amilah managed to get one of her hands free while she worked on freeing her other hand. The palace guards were asleep by this time, and Princess Amilah took the chance to sneak around the palace guards, and then she ran to another part of the train. She managed to find the lever to stop the train. She pulled the lever and the train started to slow down. Princess Amilah waiting for the train to slow down enough so she can jump off the train. Princess Amilah jumps off the train and head to the bushes to hide. The train started to move off again, and she didn't see any of the palace guards looking for her, which meant that the palace guards was still asleep and haven't missed Princess Amilah. Princess Amilah went further into the woods to hide for the rest of the day. Princess Amilah decided to wait until night and started to walk to the airport. It was 4 miles away. Princess Amilah continued to walk until she saw up ahead in the distance, she saw some shimmering lights. As Princess Amilah grew closer, she then realized that it was the lights shining from the airport. Princess Amilah was relieved and happy. She started to run faster and faster. She almost fell but made it through. Princess Amilah finally reaches the airport, bought a ticket for Ireland. She knew they would never look for her there. Princess Amilah had to sit and wait for the flight to be called. She was so excited and anxious and nervous and afraid. Finally, after 20 minutes, Princess Amilah flight call. Amilah then rushes to the departure gate and check in her ticket, finally got into the plane and gets seated and fasten her seatbelt. Princess Amilah was a little relieved. Then she saw one of the palace guards lurking around, looking to see if they can find Princess Amilah. Princess Amilah started to panic. Then the plane started to roll down the runway, and eventually the plane started to fly. Princess Amilah silently cried. She smiled and took a deep breath and thanked the Lord for his kindness and mercy. The plane finally landed, and Princess Amilah, now known as Angelina Valentine, was happy and relieved. Princess Amilah new destination, Ireland, a beautiful country and a new start of a new life. Princess Amilah, now known as Angelina Valentine, went to the checkout point in the airport, and she was a bit nervous. Although she looks different now that her beautiful long hair is showing, and wearing a totally different type of clothes, she looks nothing like her old self as a princess. She still couldn't help but feel a bit nervous. She took a deep breath and say a little prayer. silently. When she reached the checkpoint, an officer checks her passport. Look at it, then look at Princess Amilah. Then he stomps her passport and said, "Welcome to Ireland, Miss Angelina Valentine. Please enjoy your stay." Princess Amilah took a sigh of relief and said, "Thank you, sir." The officer nodded in approval, and Princess Amilah left. Angelina Valentine knew life. She came out of the airport, took a deep breath, and thanked the Lord. Angelina took a taxi and told the driver to drop her at a reasonable hotel. The driver drops Angelina at a beautiful hotel, and there she stayed for a week. Soon Angelina started to look for a job. Angelina was very talented. She knew how to draw and paint, but there wasn't much opportunity as a struggling artist. Angelina still had to find a job, and eventually she could move out of the hotel and get a house of her own. Angelina saw a job opening to be a sales representative position in a boutique. She went into the store and asked a young woman at the counter to speak to the manager. The young woman said, "Please have a seat and wait a while. I'll go get the manager." Angelina said, "Thank you, miss." The young woman said, "You're welcome, and you can call me Claire. And what's your name, miss?" Angelina May name is Angelina Valentine. "What a beautiful name." Angelina said, "Thank you, Claire, and nice to meet you." Claire then, "Oh, hold on a while. Let me get the manager." After a few minutes later, a young man came up to Angelina and said, "Mrs. Valentine?" Angelina said, "Yes." The man said, "How can I help you?" Angelina said, "I came to interview for the position of sales representative, sir." The manager said, "My name is Nicholas Cavington, but you can call me Nicholas." "Oak, nice to meet you, Nicholas." "Same here, Mrs. Valentine. Please call me Angelina." "Okay, Angelina, do you have any experience with being a sales representative?" Angelina said, "Honestly, no, sir. I mean Nicholas, but I am a friendly person, and I promise Nicholas I will do my best. Please give me a chance." Nicholas couldn't help but to smile. He replies to Angelina. He took a deep breath, and then after a moment, he said, "Okay, Angelina, I'll give you a chance. Please don't disappoint me." "Thank you so much, Nicholas. I promise I'm a fast learner, and I'll make you proud." Nicholas smiled and said, "Well, Angelina, you will start work next week, Monday morning at 8 sharp. Do not be late." Angelina stands up and said, "Thank you, Sir Nicholas. I won't be late. Thank you for this opportunity." Nicholas said, "You're welcome, Angelina. Welcome to Cavington's Variety Store." Angelina thanks Nicholas once more and turned to leave. Nicholas stops Angelina and said, "Angelina, would you have dinner with me tonight? We can celebrate your new job." Angelina was silent for a moment, and then she said, "Sure, I'll like that." Nicholas said, "Great, I'll pick you up at 7, Angelina." Said okay. Then he asked her for her address. Angelina gave Nicholas direction, and they bid farewell until later tonight for dinner. Angelina reached back at the hotel where she stayed, and when she reached in her room, she was so happy how the day went, and she thanked God for his blessings. Angelina took a bath and rest until later that evening. She started to get dressed for the dinner with Nicholas. She smiled to herself. She really likes Nicholas, and Nicholas likes Angelina also. Angelina put on a beautiful dress and brushed her hair and waited for Nicholas to come meet her. It was 7. Pom and Angelina finally heard a knock on the door. She asked who it was. Then person said, "It's Nicholas." Angelina smiled and opened the door. There stood Nicholas, looking more handsome. Nicholas, looking at Angelina and smiling, said, "You look beautiful." Angelina smiled and said, "Thank you, you look great." Nicholas said, "Thank you. Shall we go?" "Yes, let's go," Angelina said. Nicholas took Angelina to a beautiful restaurant. They had a beautiful meal and dessert. They then took a walk along a little bridge, taking in the beautiful view of the seashore. Then Nicholas broke the silence. He asks Angelina where she came from. Angelina asks, "What you mean?" Nicholas said, "I know you weren't born in Ireland, so what country are you from?" Angelina didn't know how to answer that question. She was still guarded and afraid of the past. After all, it's only been 2 months since her escape. Then suddenly, Nicholas' phone rang and he excused himself to speak to the person on the phone. Angelina took a sigh of relief. Then Nicholas came back and said he was sorry for the interruption, that it was his mother who called. Angelina asks if everything was okay. Nicholas said, "Yes, she's okay." His mother just called to find out how he was going. Angelina and Nicholas talk all night and laugh at each other's jokes. The night was really nice. Then Nicholas took Angelina back to her hotel and bid farewell to each other. Angelina went to her room and took a bath and went to sleep. A new day, and it's Angelina's first day at work. Everything went well, and eventually, over the weeks and months, Angelina got very good at her job. Nicholas and Angelina got very close and would frequently go out on dates. Nicholas and Angelina fell in love, and Nicholas' family love Angelina very much. It has been 8 months now since Angelina ran away from her country and home in Arabia. Angelina's father, the king, finally given up the search for his daughter, Princess Amilah, which now goes as Angelina Valentine. No one would never know. One day, Nicholas called Angelina and asked her to come on a date with him. She looked so beautiful. Nicholas finally told Angelina how much he loves her, and Angelina told Nicholas that she loves him too. They both hugged and shared a kiss. Then Nicholas knelt down on one knee and asked Angelina to marry him. Angelina was shocked, but she was so happy, and she said, "Yes, yes, I will marry you, Nicholas." Nicholas was so happy, and he placed a beautiful ring on Angelina's finger. They hugged and kissed. Nicholas said, "There's only one question I ask you, Angelina. Where are you from? You always found ways to avoid from answering the question. If we are to be married, we need to trust each other and be honest." Angelina nodded in agreement. Angelina took a deep breath and was silent for a while. Then Angelina builds up the strength and said, "Please, let's sit on the bench. This will take a while." Nicholas and Angelina sat, and Nicholas waited patiently for Angelina to talk. Nicholas held Angelina's hands for support because he realized it was a hard topic for Angelina. Angelina smiled, and then she got serious and told Nicholas that she was a princess, and she lived in Arabia all her life. She told Nicholas her real name was Princess Amilah. Nicholas was shocked, but very interested in her story. Angelina also told Nicholas that she was promised to be married to a prince named Elijah, but she didn't love him, and it was an arranged marriage. Angelina told Nicholas all that she had experienced from running away and everything she went through. When she was finished talking, Nicholas was very quiet, and Angelina was waiting for a response from Nicholas. Nicholas stood up and took a walk away from Angelina. Not very far, as though he was thinking of course he was. Angelina was worried that Nicholas may not want to be married to her anymore, and tears filled her eyes. After a few minutes, which felt like a lifetime, Nicholas came up to Angelina, took her hands, and made her stand up. Then Nicholas said, "I love you so much, my angel. Thank you for being honest with me and telling me all what you have been through. I know it wasn't easy for you to relive that terrible experience. Would you prefer I call you Amilah or Angelina? I still want to marry you, and even more now than ever. I love you so much, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Angelina was so happy and relieved and speechless. She was preparing for the worst, and now she was so happy. She hugged and kissed Nicholas and said she wants to be called Angelina. It's her new life. Nicholas nodded in approval, and they kiss again. Nicholas then shared the news about his proposal to Angelina to his mother and family and friends. They were all happy for Nicholas and Angelina. They set a wedding date as quickly as possible. The wedding was to take place in 2 weeks' time. Angelina said Nicholas both agreed that the wedding would be small and intimate, only family and close friends. 2 weeks flew quickly, and the only thing Angelina was missing was her mother. She really misses her mother so much. The wedding day has arrived. Angelina was dressing and fixing her hair. Her mother-in-law helped her, and they both hugged and shed a few tears of joy. It's time, and Nicholas was waiting at the altar, and Angelina would soon be walking down the aisle. Nicholas's father agreed and was honored to be father giver to walk Angelina down the aisle. Angelina, father-in-law. In-law to be walking down the aisle, and Angelina looking at Nicholas waiting at the altar. They both looking at each other and smiling happily. Finally, Angelina reached Nicholas' side, and he couldn't wait to kiss her. They both said their vows and promises of each, and finally the priest said, "You may kiss your bride." Nicholas didn't hesitate. He grabbed Angelina tenderly and kissed her. Everyone applauds and celebrate. The wedding ceremony was joyful. Then Nicholas had a surprise for Angelina. Everyone was quiet, and Angelina didn't know what to expect. Then suddenly, a lady in the crowd came forward. She had a veil over her head. When the lady pulls off the veil, Angelina was shocked and really surprised. She was wondering if she was dreaming. Her mother came closer to Angelina and said, "Hi, my beautiful daughter." Angelina started to cry and hugged her mom tightly. She looked at her mom again and hugged her again. Angelina told her mother she missed her so much. She asks her mother if she's okay. Her mother said, "I'm okay." Nicholas then came towards them, and Angelina asked, "How did you do it? How did you get my mother out of there?" Nicholas said it wasn't easy, but it wasn't that hard either. Angelina's mother interrupted the conversation and spoke. "My daughter, 2 months after you left, I also ran away from your father's kingdom, or shall I say prison. Walked many miles in the forest, and a grandmother and her little granddaughter's name, Sarah, helped me and hid me." Angelina was shocked, but not surprised because those same people help her as well. Angelina hugged her mother again and said, "I'm so happy you're here with us." Angelina grabbed Nicholas tenderly, and they kiss and the crowd applause, and Angelina's mother congratulated Angelina and Nicholas on their marriage. Angelina told Nicholas how much she loves him, and she is so happy to be his wife. Nicholas said, "I'm so happy you're mine, and I promise I'll try with all my might to always make you happy." Angelina smiled and said, "You made me the happiest woman in the world. Nicholas, thank you so much for rescuing and bringing my mother back to me safely. I'll always be grateful to you, Nicholas, my husband." Nicholas smiled and said, "I love the sound of that, my wife." They both laughed and smiled and hugged each other and kissed. A week after the wedding, Nicholas bought a house for Angelina's mother, which was only half a mile from where they lived. They would all have family dinners and outings. Angelina and Nicholas are happily married and got the biggest surprise ever. They're expecting their first baby together. Nicholas and Angelina, happily in love, and they are all live happily ever after. The end.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on very interesting videos. Have a beautiful day to each and everyone.